she misused those funds and started paying, I don't think you should be able to use money like that on family members.
Justice Department investigating Representative Cori Bush campaign's use of security funds. The Missouri Democrat confirmed the investigation, denying any wrongdoing and saying her campaign is, quote, fully cooperating. Well, the campaign's use of security funds, that sounds very boring, like kind of a run-of-the-mill campaign violation. What the headline doesn't tell you is that the security was her husband. Kind of an important detail. So let's dig into the article from NBC News again. The Justice Department is investigating Representative Cori Bush, Democrat from Missouri, for a campaign's spending on security services, she confirmed in a statement Tuesday. Again, talk about burying the lead. You failed to mention that the security detail was her husband, who she paid like over $700,000 for supposedly being her security guard, I guess. But you wouldn't know that, again, from the headline or from the lead. It's just like, oh, like campaign spending on security services. They're trying to make it sound as boring as possible. Quote, "We are fully cooperating in this investigation," Bush said, denying any wrongdoing. As a former Black Lives Matter and high-profile progressive on Capitol Hill, Bush has faced what she called, quote, "relentless threats to my physical safety and life" since her election in 2020. So it's like, if Cori Bush says that she's receiving physical threats, then I guess you're the jerk for questioning her security. I mean, for crying out loud, she's getting death threats, and you're worried about the money she's spending that happens to be going to her husband? So the Biden administration, the Biden DOJ, is investigating Cori Bush for allegedly misappropriating campaign funds and kind of funneling it back to her husband. And I'm inclined to believe she probably did that. However, is it completely arbitrary that the Biden administration is investigating her now, this so-called squad member? And here's the deal. The Biden DOJ goes after its political enemies, okay? I believe that. I believe they go after Trump and all his allies for political reasons, and I'm going to be fair and say the same is the case for some Democrats. Doesn't matter if they're black or white. If you piss these people off, then they will go after you, and Cori Bush is finding that out. So how did Cori Bush antagonize the Biden administration? Well, let's hear it from NPR. Quote, "Cori Bush has emerged as one of the sharpest critics of the Israeli government in Congress and a vocal advocate for a ceasefire in the Israeli-Hamas war." So if you're out there criticizing the Biden admin, that is something that's going to have some blowback with, Merrick Garland's DOJ. So she's being investigated. She's probably, guilty of what she's doing, but is it fair that the Biden DOJ is using the law as like a cudgel to go after their enemies? Is that the correct way to go about that? Again, I can give examples on the Republican side very easily. As I said, Trump and anyone associated with him has been treated quite unfairly by the DOJ. But even Democrats, and again, black or white, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, is being investigated by the FBI. And he just happened to be a little critical of the Biden admin over their ridiculous immigration policy. So Eric Adams... another one is Bob Menendez, the senator of New Jersey, who's now being investigated. He was kind of critical of the Biden admin foreign policy, maybe from a different angle as Cori Bush. But it's like, I don't think Cori Bush even knows what's coming at her right now. She's dealing with primary challenges. She's dealing with all kinds of pressure that coming out of the woodwork that she probably did not even see coming.
Sounds to me like that's going to be a pretty interesting investigation. Paint her what? Her new husband as her muscle? If she misused those funds and started paying, I don't think you should be able to use money like that on family members. I mean, I don't think he's even a licensed security guy. Paint her husband. Well, why don't you try to get support from local law enforcement? Oh, that's right. We don't want local law enforcement. Maybe she wants to defund the police
So some very cogent points from Representative Troy Nehls of Texas. I've never heard of this guy before. This is like his introduction to the national stage. He's tearing into Cori Bush, and he really just went off in this interview. But he raises some fair points, which is that it's just on the face of it, like you shouldn't pay your spouse hundreds of thousands of dollars for security. Even if you want to argue that he's really your security guard, which is dubious, it just doesn't appear good. And I don't think Cori Bush understands that. Or, it's kind of like the Fannie Willis situation, actually. So we've got a couple of ladies in some hot water for some blatant corruption. On the other hand, I believe that the Biden administration is only going after her because she's a critic of Israel. I think he's safe choosing this particular target. And she is indeed a target. She's guilty, but she's a target. Now, can she pay her husband? Technically, you're allowed to pay a family member on a campaign as long as you pay fair market value and, they presumably are actually doing the thing you're paying them for. So there is some regulation. So she might be able to argue that it was legal. But, we'll have to leave it to the lawyers to decide. My name is Michael McCara. Thank you so much for watching. Visit my website, michaelmccarablog.com. Check me out on Twitter. My handle's in the description. And finally, and most importantly, like and subscribe to my channel.
I've only heard what love can do.